So have you ever had a few weeks where you just didn't feel like producing music and it freaked you out a little bit? Or maybe it wasn't a few weeks, maybe it was months and months and months and you just like didn't feel like producing any music and so you started reading self-help books and books on creativity and how to get out of that rut and all that stuff. I'm simply going to suggest something that might sound shocking, but I'm just going to say if you don't feel like producing music, it's okay to not do it. There are tons of books out there that suggest a couple of different kind of viewpoints. One is you should force yourself to be creative every day. Notice I use that word force. I don't like that word. There are tons of theories that you should discipline yourself, that you should schedule creativity, that you should force yourself to sit down and just do something every day. And that might work for you, and if it works for you, great. Then there's the other viewpoint that suggests you shouldn't force yourself. And again, if that works for you, great. I tend to be one of those people that I don't like to force myself to be creative. For me, it attaches a negative stigma to that creative process, and I just don't really like that association. I think for a lot of us that produce music, and maybe it's not our biggest paycheck, we have a fear of letting go of the dream that it might be our, quote, ticket out. Producing music that can ultimately be successful, right? I mean, the temptation is it makes you look cool, it bumps up your ego, and sure, maybe it will make you some money. And I'm not just talking about like being an artist, but everything from film scoring to sync licensing, right? There are so many different jobs out there. And the allure and the appeal of that is really tempting, right? So if you have a few weeks or a few months or I don't know, maybe a few years where you feel out of touch with music production and you don't want to do it, you feel that dread and terror of missing out. You've heard of that phrase FOMO? I like to think of this feeling as FONKU, fear of not keeping up. I write about this and some other stuff in a book that I released. I'm not going to shove the link down your throat. If you want to find it, you'll find it. Being a music producer is something that is highly, highly visible in social media. We want to be one of those cool music producers that's doing the cool thing. But if we stop doing that cool thing for weeks and months and maybe years, we're afraid that we're not going to be keeping up. Again, I think that's tied to a deeply rooted fear of missing out on maybe a meal ticket in music production. Kind of like if we stop doing it, we miss out on the dream of like a ticket out of like a normal day job or a ticket out of a normal mundane life. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to say like, hey, I don't really feel like doing this right now. It's okay to, I don't know, instead of produce music, maybe you just want to build Legos for a few months. Ask me how I know. It's okay if you want to take a break and maybe for a while you just play video games. Ask me how I know. At the end of the day, I really believe you should follow your joy, whatever that is. Did I lose you at the fluffy word joy? It's okay. Come back. At the end of the day, the only person that I have to answer to is this kid. This is me at around 2, and I'm just banging on the piano and just having a good time. Obviously, you can see that expression of joy on my face. That's the only person in my mind that I have to answer to. Am I going to continue to produce music? For me, the ultimate question is it something that I'm going to enjoy? There's a ton of cool tech out there, right? With visualizers. I realized that I could mix music with, looking at visualizers instead of relying on my ears. And there's all kinds of cool tech that you can wear and to feel and experience music in different ways. And I think all that is awesome. And I'm certainly interested in eventually maybe putting on my nerdy tech hat and trying some of that stuff. But if all that is just in the name of tech and being scholarly and it's not actually enjoyable for me as a listener, I don't think I want to do it. I mean, maybe there are a lot of super hard of hearing music producers out there that I don't know of. I don't know of a lot. And the only reason I can think of is it's probably not enjoyable. This is going to sound weird, but I love the music that I create. I love listening to it. I love the experience of creating it, but I also love listening to my own music. I create music for me first. So yeah, I'm one of those people that after I create a song, I'm like listening to it in my car for a while, for a week. Busted. It's not because I'm like being conceited. I mean, I'm doing it by myself in private. It's not like I'm flaunting in front of everyone. I just enjoy what I create. So if producing with a bunch of visual tech helps me, but it's not something that I enjoy doing because I can't really hear it and enjoy it, I don't want to do it. So like for me, I'm facing the reality of maybe a longer season where I'm not going to produce music for quite a while. And maybe that's you. Maybe you haven't felt like doing it in a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. My first question to you would be, why does that terrify you? Are you scared you're going to be missing out on a cool job or gig in life? Are you afraid you're going to look less cool on social media? Are you afraid you're going to be missing out on being involved in a really cool, glamorous industry? I would just encourage you to follow your joy, whatever that is. And just trust to know that if you lose the joy in music production, you're going to find it in something else. I truly believe we all have that creative ability, that creative instinct, and we're going to find a way to create. Honestly, right now, I'm enjoying the process of just making these videos. I'm finding it fun. So don't be afraid to let go of it. Just trust that that little 2-year-old in you is going to find something else to do that brings you joy. So let me know in the comments, have you had a season, a long season, where you've fallen out of love with doing something creatively and it freaked you out? Have you had an experience as a music producer where you've had a long period of time where you just haven't loved it? How have you dealt with it? Let's talk about it. Hit me up in the comments.